That featured Logan Eaton on trombone. A brogan, as we call him. No, we don't really. Yesterday on the guys come in and said, "Happy birthday, Brogan." And I was like, all right, maybe they named the kid Brogan. And Zach Davis also on trombone. And that piece was called "Still Got the Blues." It was a blues chart, obviously. It borrowed very freely and very criminally, actually, a lot of themes from a lot of blues standards or swing standards from the big band era. But it's a nice chart for us to learn the blues, which is part of what we do in our jazz stuff. We base a lot of our improvisation on blues form, and part of their development in jazz is to explore some different and maybe not as conventional jazz styles. This next number is one of those. It's from a Oliver Nelson album. He was a saxophone player and a composer. This album was originally put out in 1961, and the chart is called "Stolen Moments." It is a kind of a jazz fusion thing, a little bit more breezy. Relax, you just kind of close your eyes. Enjoy some Stolen Moments. Don't fall asleep. featured Aubergine Hamilton on alto sax, and Austin Fugit on trumpet. I don't know, was that bad? The improvisational part, by the way, that both of them did. So on some of these charts, some of these songs, there's only chords that are written. And on some of them, they've got in suggested written solos. And very rarely when we have those suggested ones do they play exactly what's on that page. But sometimes it helps if they'll have a little, oh, there's a little idea, and they'll take those ideas and kind of improvise off of those. So one of the great things about the development of the jazz student comes in the way that those solos are written, but they're not interpreted exactly that way. So that's just a little insight. This next one was originally a country chart. Eddie Arnold back in the 30s did it, and then it was repurposed a number of times, probably most famously by Ray Charles. This one is called You Don't Know Me. It features Jake Shaner on the trumpet. So, yeah. Jake Shaner, one more time on trumpet. Tell him one more time. You don't know. Want to also recognize Jackson Kendrick on guitar for that one. And want to kind of continue to just recognize a couple ways. This is a very talented group that we're missing 3 players tonight that are all at home with the Q, as they call it, or as I call it. They don't have the Rona, but they're quarantined. So we lost 2 days ago our bass player, and so Jackson has repurposed some of what he's done on the guitar to accommodate the bass part. And that's after about a week ago having to suddenly learn not only that solo that you just heard, but some of the other stuff, because one of the other 2 of the 3 players is our other guitar player. So between that, and he does play bari sax too, but we just ran out of instruments for him to play. But so thank you, Jackson, for filling in for sure. So it's just all, I need more money. This last one, okay, so one of the advantages, one of the real pluses we've had this year, and I think probably the most enjoyable day we had in jazz band this year, was a few weeks ago. This next piece is called Groovissimo, by the way. It's a Latin chart, and the composer, Michelle Fernandez, is a friend of mine that she's been teaching as long as I have, and she teaches down in the Miami-Dade area, has taught middle school, high school, and now she still works at a middle school, but does a lot of composition. And so this is one of her published pieces, and we had a Zoom meeting with her where she talked about the Latin style and ways to interpret articulations, and we didn't play a note the whole time, but she talked and she demonstrated, particularly on percussion, and we had a really enjoyable time. And it was kind of cool for them to get to meet a composer, and she was over the moon that someone bought her stuff. So this is a cool little Latin chart. This is going to feature Colin Carwell on trombone. And Logan Eaton will have a cowbell solo at some point, so you are correct to be tepid with your applause. All right, Groovissimo. This will close out our portion of the program. I know, it goes fast. Alan Carter on one time on trombone. And the Bart Stanton on trombone. I appreciate it. We got one more group. You're going to want to stick around for sure. So thanks. Just a couple of minutes and we're with you. Thank you.